How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to The Big Thing, and Happy New Year. It's 2023, and what a start. We got a lot to talk about here today, man, on the show. So if you're joining us on YouTube, if you're joining us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever, we got stuff to talk about. Avatar, not only is it about to make a profit, or start to make a profit, it had a 0% drop from last week. That never happens. That's massive. So, Stranger Things 5, how's that going to end? Is it going to end somehow with Will? That's what they're talking about. Wakanda Forever is going to drop on Disney Plus. When? Yellowstone is going to be on a break. HBO is pulling some loonies. They're going to take some loonies right off. Just depends on who you think the loony is. But Looney Tunes is going off HBOMAX, and we're going to talk about, obviously, Jeremy Renner and hope that he's okay. And that's a lot of the stuff that we're going to be covering today on The Big Thing. So if you haven't already done this, you should. You should subscribe to the channel. We are almost at 70,000, everybody. We didn't hit 2022. We didn't hit that 70. However, we are on the road now, and we're going to try to get there. We're almost at 63. So hopefully you can head on over there, get us to that number. Patreon. Have a lot that we just added. Patreon.com/TheBigThingShow. A lot of people ask, hey, how can I support the show? Well, head on over there. Check it out. Another way, get yourself a shirt. Whether it's Big Thing, the Flirts and Plows, Capes and Cals, Sith, the Top Gun guy.
The Top Gun guy?
All of those. Make sure you check that out for sure. And we'd like to thank our sponsors over at Carbon Health. Carbon Health's great, man. If you watched last week's show with Dan and Roca, you know, the whole episode was sponsored by Carbon Health, but we were with them for a little bit. Now, you may or may not know, Carbon Health, it is known for its 120 locations that handle urgent care, COVID, RSV, flu testing, vaccinations. But what people should be looking into is how they're expanding into primary care services that include connected health. If you don't know what connected health is, it's the idea that our health isn't just about our bodies, but also our mind. Carbon Health's providers, they come connected with mental health specialists as well. Carbon Health will be expanding these primary care services further in 2023. And if you're in Massachusetts, you'll be able to access the connected care next month, since it's now expanded from California to Massachusetts. Carbon Health, an excellent urgent care and testing center, but don't sleep on their primary care services. So we're very excited to be working with Carbon Health, as always, into 2023. So let's get into it, man. It's The Big Thing. It's me and Brett. You ready? I'm ready. Let's do it. It's going down, everybody. It is 2023. It's me. It's this guy.
Speaking of mental health.
That's right. It's us. What'd you do to yourself for the holidays?
What I do to myself?
Hey, what'd you do to yourself?
Just jerk myself into a coma.
Smashing off into chairs with a bottle of whiskey I got him.
Did you sample that? Yeah, I polished her off.
Yeah, you sure did, Grandpa. Good to have you back, buddy. What a 2022 was a good year for us, I think. It was a good start. We got the studio ready, all that stuff happening, but we got a lot to do in 2023, man. It's gonna be great. And one of the things that I wanted to do is change it up a little bit. I did a poll the other day on the YouTube community page. Been doing a lot of that lately. So what I've noticed is that the more I do that, the more people are this YouTube, they don't give you notifications a lot of the time. So I said, haha, screw you, YouTube. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to basically do a poll and post my link inside of that, and then you can find it. People said they've been finding the shows a lot, and I see an increase in the episodes every time I do it. But one of the things that I did on that community page was say, look, let's do... I did this show with both Winston and Coy for Capes and Cals for the best of the year, and I did this format with John and Dan. And essentially what it is that I put up a whole bunch of these topics that we wanted to talk about, and we're gonna bring them up, and whoever's on the show, I say, okay, listen, we have a bunch of topics to talk about, and you can go and choose one of those, and we're gonna discuss it. So that's what we're gonna do today. So Brett, I'm gonna let you start here, buddy. We got a bunch of news that's out there. What do you want to talk about, my friend?
I'd say the biggest thing on the docket, Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes. That makes a lot of sense.
I actually am interested in this because, I read the article and I'm wondering if let's say what's happening. They're cutting. Tell us. They've got like they used to have half the catalog, I think it was. It wasn't quite the whole catalog of Looney Tunes. I mean, there's thousands of these things, but they're down to like a fourth of them. Okay. And it's because of budget cuts and things like that. But I'm like, a lot of those Looney Tunes they were fine for us when we were kids, but it was a lot of bombing each other and, Roadrunner and all that. Yeah. I mean, so maybe they're kind of trimming the fat too, because it's not exactly the content they want to be showing.
I don't know. I think it's a little less than that. I think it's because
I was going to say Warner Brothers too woke is what
could be that too. But no, I think that they're going to try to sell a lot of their stuff. They're going to try to put a lot of their stuff on different platforms because when Discovery bought them, they're in a lot of debt.
Yeah.
They need to make up a lot of money. So I think that the problem with a lot of these studios, and I think this is one of the things that Sony has kind of prided themselves on, is they don't have a streaming service. So Sony can sell a bunch of different shows and do different things, and they can make money hand over fist that way. But when you're part of a streaming service, you got to stay on your service. I mean, you can license certain things out, but I think by licensing out and selling off your library and doing it that way, you might see some extra revenue. I don't know, but like it is. I mean, the overall details is as such with this story is that Warner Brothers Discovery has reportedly removed half of its library of the classic Looney Tunes shorts from HBO Max service, despite the franchise being one of the signature works of its media empire. The streaming service has removed seasons 16 to 31. Wow. From its library, 256 episodes in all, causing the total number of classic animated shorts available on the platform to drop from 511 to 255. Season 1 to 15 are still available, whilst related shows like Cartoon Network's The Looney Tunes Show and HBO Max's Looney Tunes Cartoons remain available, the latter winning an Emmy the other week for Bugs Bunny's current voice performer, Eric Bauza. So it looks like the latest casualty of the HBO Max cost-cutting content purge and falls in the wake of another animated show abruptly pulled from the platform, including Infinity Train, Aquaman, King of Atlantis, Close Enough, and more. Others, like the planned series Batman Cape Crusader, were scrapped and will be shopped to other outlets. Warner Brothers Discovery plans to license some of the removed shows out to free ad-supported third-party streaming service, but nothing has been announced in regard to the fate of the missing Looney Tunes shorts. Yeah, I think that part of it
totally kills my theory because they're keeping the really old shit. That's probably the worst.
Well, I mean, and also the other reason why they're keeping it is why they would keep it is because remember, I think Space Jam.
Yeah,
it's still, you got to have it relatable. I think that it's because you don't have to pay. Well, I don't know. Do you have to pay residuals still? I mean, I don't. Maybe not. Maybe you have to pay. Maybe there's certain payments that you have to pay the actors that when you're airing the episodes. Well, but even if they're not around, their families probably get the payments on it. So that's interesting, man. Yeah, it's yet. I think we're gonna hear more and more about this on HBO Max. I'm curious what you guys think. Is this something that you now at this point it's kind of old hat with HBO Max? You expect to see more of it coming? Do you think it makes sense? Do you think this is more of a plan by Zaslav to make the cuts? What say you? All right, I want to move on over now, and I want to get to this story with Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner, obviously you know him as Hawkeye and many other things. Obviously, it's a brand new show coming out, or it's out now on Yellowstone. Not Yellowstone, on Paramount. Let's do this again. Also, let's talk about Jeremy Renner here. So, Jeremy Renner, this report comes from Dark Horizons. Two-time Oscar-nominated actor Jeremy Renner, he's in critical but stable condition in hospital following a weather-related incident that took place on Sunday. Spokesperson said in a statement, "We can confirm that he is in critical but stable condition with injuries suffered after experiencing a weather-related accident while plowing snow earlier today. His family is with him, and he's receiving excellent care." The actor was reportedly airlifted earlier today to a hospital near his house in the local area near Mount Rose Ski Tahoe near Reno, Nevada in the United States. The region saw a winter storm hit on New Year's Eve yesterday, resulting in 35,000 homes losing power. Further details about the accident and his injuries have not yet been related to the public, and this article will be updated once more details are available. Renner is not new to serious injury. An accident while filming Tag in 2017 saw him break both his arms. Okay, this is just going over his history. I mean, but yes, so he's been in a lot of different things. He was in 2002's Dahmer. He was in 2003's SWAT. He was in, obviously, Hawkeye, The Bourne Legacy, American Hustle, and so much more that we know Jeremy Renner for. So I think that the first thing, obviously, that you think of right away is his family, right? You know, but you had said it too, and as much of a bit it was, and it's like, you know, this guy's loaded too. He was out there snowplowing by himself.
Yeah, and he must have been. I mean, I'm guessing we're talking some big equipment because I mean, you don't with like a little snow blower or something like that. I mean, he's I mean, he must be in this beautiful big home up in the mountains, but maybe he had to. Maybe it was a necessity. Maybe they were trapped in or something. He was trying to get, because, those roads get blocked. You can't get help for days anyway, no matter how much money.
No, it's like every movie that he's in. He was in that. What's the other movie that he was in recently? Oh, God, I can't. You guys are probably screaming at me about what it is, but I really enjoyed it. It was where he was out in Alaska or whatever it was, and he's out and he's like this experienced hunter. Was it Alaska? I don't know where it was. Do you know which movie I'm talking about? It's Down Below or something. What the hell was it called? I don't know.
It was an Australian. It was called
Down Below. No, what the hell was it called? It's driving me nuts.
Wasn't on that list of.
I'm gonna let's see. It's driving. People are already screaming at me. I can feel it even in a pre-tape. I can feel them screaming at me, and I'm gonna tell you what this is. Wind River. Wind River. Is that?
That seems.
I think
older.
It was.
Wind River.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh, it is Wind River.
It was 7.7. You crazy? That movie's awesome. It was 7.7. Who's bringing that 7? I didn't realize it was 2017. Anyway, it looks like he's gonna pull through. He's gonna be okay. So at least that's what they're saying, right?
Yeah, critical but stable. Still having critical in there still is a little disheartening. It's like, is he like what is critical but stable? I don't know what that means. Is it like life support? But I know they're keeping it kind of quiet on it. It hasn't been enough information, but I guess that's my optimism saying that I hope he's going to be okay. I mean, I hope he's going to be okay. But he just said Hawkeye the show. He's got the show on Paramount Plus right now. So this is it's I'm just telling you, man. It's like, what the hell was I watching last night? I was watching something that said I can't remember which show it was, but it's like. It was 1923, and they're just talking about how there's a scene between two of the characters. It's just life, just like that. Oh yeah, it's like it's just a blip. It's so fast, and again, I'm not saying that I'm praying through here that Jeremy Renner is going to be okay, but I'm just saying you just never know what's going to happen. Yeah, and it's that constant reminder of that we get. I mean, I think that's these stories like this are things that wake you up and go like, yeah, just get out there.
It's
do your
the truth.
It's a good next day.
It's the truth, and I guess we can try to maneuver into that as best as we can into something a little more positive. And talking about let's stay with television. We're talking about 1923. I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone because I know that not everybody has caught up on it yet, or maybe even started it. But I mentioned this show and it was actually in my top 10 TV list, but I had reshot it, moved it. I was like, there's only 2 episodes so far, and there's other shows I want to move in there, so I reshot the entire list. But this show is fantastic, and I was watching last night's episode, and as I'm watching, I'm like, okay, there's a couple soap opera moments in it. And I'm like, maybe it isn't the strongest. And then they go, shut up, stupid, watch this. And then the ending is just like, whoa. You're watching the ending of the 3rd episode. If you're into this show, you know what I'm talking about. You're just like, what the hell are they going to do now? Because it's not like sometimes they lead you up and then by episode 6, they're like, boom. They punch you in the face quick. So real quick.
This is a spinoff, or it's just kind of in the same. Like, I mean, how does Yellowstone and this match up? Because I haven't seen either.
So I watched like the first 4 or 5 episodes of Yellowstone. I never watched the other one with Sam Elliott. But there's certainly references and things that they're all part of the same timeline. Yeah, it's like this is the great grandfather, I guess, of or somewhere the great relatives of Kevin Costner's character eventually, right? But you don't. Because of when it takes place, you don't really miss out on anything. You probably get a little bit more out of it when you go, oh, that's the son that eventually from that Sam Elliott one, and they're going to eventually lead there, and sure, you can piece it all together. But no, I'm not lost at all by watching it at this moment.
And would you, is it a Western, or is it more of like historical, like
more Western? I mean, it's got a
gun shootouts and shit like that. Yeah. Okay. No, I'm down then.
You
sold me, because the look on it is like this kind of
rancher thing. There's romantic moments, and that's why Sadie likes it, right? But it's not a romantic show, like just a romantic show.
I want to see get off my property.
You're gonna see that.
That's what. Okay,
you're gonna see that.
And this is not, is it Peacock or is it?
This is Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. Okay, that's
Paramount Plus is destroying right now.
Okay, so I have to get Paramount.
You have to get Paramount Plus. They've got that. They've got Tulsa King. They've got the Yellowstone universe in general. They have the Mayor of Kingstown, which is Jeremy Renner. They have all of these shows. Plus, and this is not necessarily for you, but maybe for Blake, they have they're getting now the NFL playoffs.
Oh, nice.
So Paramount Plus is really making moves. But this episode last night of 1923, man. And again, like I said, I'm not going to spoil it for you. I want to talk about it somewhere because because I don't think that it's something enough that I could do like a spoiler review that enough people will watch.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about this show. I really want to talk about this last episode. And if you guys, you can feel my pain if you saw the episode, you know why I want to talk about it. But it's phenomenal. It's really good. And so I'm watching that, and I started watching, as I told you before, I started watching The Bear. Great show.
Yeah.
Really good. I never had any reservations about watching this the same way I did like other shows. This was just something, I'll get to it eventually. And I'm glad I did. That kid is awesome.
On paper, it just didn't seem like when people said, oh, it's a guy who works in right. I was like,
seeing it.
Yeah, right. Seeing it, whatever. But no, we burned through that. And
short episodes too.
Yeah. That's the nice thing. It's something about, and you could do twice as many half-hour episodes as you can the hour ones for some reason. I could just boom, 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 boom. I think we knocked that out in 2-3 days.
I'm getting close to. I was trying to do it last night. Then I started watching. And the other thing that I'm watching, because my daughter's so into Wednesday, we're about 6 episodes into that, or just finished 6. Yeah, 6, and that's pretty good. Did you watch the whole thing?
She watched that without you. First,
she watched it without us.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
And then she's like, "You guys," and then she's like, "You guys got to watch." So the three of us, my Vivian, my oldest, and then my wife and I are watching that together. That's our thing that we're watching together. 1923 is the one I'm watching with my wife, and The Bear is the one I'm watching by myself. I tried to get my wife to watch it. She wouldn't watch it. It's the first episode is kind of chaotic.
Yeah.
Like, not the first episode, the first opening is chaotic. And then she's like, this is too intense. I'm like, give it a second. And she's like, bailed on it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we're watching right now but there's tons. People have really, because I put my list out. There's two things I put my list out. I put my list out about my top 10 movies. And the comment I was getting the most about that, because I said to the people, I'm like, hey, let me know what movie that is missing that I maybe have not seen, that if you watch me long enough, you think that I would like. And overwhelming was Triple R. Overwhelming.
Oh yeah.
People are like, you have to watch that movie. It's on so many people's lists. And I think that what I'm going to do next is I'm going to finish The Bear, and I think then I'm going to go with Triple R. I think I'm going to go that. I'm going to go that one, because I was going to do 1899, but now 1899 is the series that for Dark, the creators of Dark did.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it just got canceled. They said that they just put up. Apparently, people loved 1899, but then the creators posted and said that Netflix isn't renewing it. It's like,
bastards.
I don't understand. Again, Netflix really. I think they're going to be stubborn, and they're going to stick with this stupid binge model forever. I don't think they're ever going to change it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, let me know, because I'll do that one so we can talk about it, because that's
which one, 1923?
The RRR.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay. Do
that one's been on my radar for a long time. But
so let's do that one, but start watching 1923, and I think you'll watch what I was talking about with that one. By the way, is there's the guy I'm going to bring up this guy's name, because I did this last time, and I'm not doing it again, Brett. I'm not going to do it. This 1923. There's a guy inside of he played Burt Reynolds in the Offer, and he plays Harrison Ford's nephew. And I feel he's gonna be he's already a major character in the show, but I feel like he's gonna be like the big star coming out of this thing. His name is Brandon Sklenar. Brandon Sklenar. This guy is your next big star if they use him the right way. He was in Vice. He's in Westworld.
And your favorite, The Offer.
That's what I just said. He put Burt Reynolds in The Offer.
Oh, in The Offer.
That's how I opened.
I heard Burt Reynolds, and I was like, I thought it was like a biopic of Burt Reynolds.
Dude, this guy this guy's a major star.
Yeah.
Like he's got that thing. He could have played young Solo. He could have played young Indiana Jones. He
really?
could. he doesn't play a version of Harrison Ford, but he's supposed to be related to him as his nephew, and I believe it. He just has that thing about him. I don't know how funny he can be. He doesn't necessarily have to be super funny to play those roles, but have that kind of edge. But he's a serious character. He's like an ex military guy who fought in the war in World War I, and now he's off in Africa, kind of hunting freaking lions and shit. And he's a badass, and it's the movie. The show's really good. So anyway, that's that side of it, and I covered a lot. And Brett will go before we move to our sponsor for the day, or the sponsor. You pick one out. What do you got?
I'm excited about Wakanda Forever coming on Disney Plus because, of course, I didn't make it to the theater for that one, and it is something I really want to see because of the mixed reviews I've seen about it. Because I think people were I think people weren't as, for the most part, as pleased as they wanted to be. I guess
as jazzed. All right, let's.
Am I wrong? Because I feel like people that I thought would have loved it. And loved the first one were like, it was good, but it was great, but
So I think it's like a little bit of an ish, right? Like, so for me, I feel that way where I thought it was a good movie. I think the first one is way better, but it's not fair.
Yeah,
because a lot of different reasons. One, obviously, the loss of
that's huge.
Chadwick Boseman, which is that's part one. Part two is the impressive part with that movie is how fast. They kind of they announced the movie Black Panther 2 when Chadwick Boseman was alive. They started writing the movie while he was alive. And then they lost him. Then you got to rewrite, and you got to get that movie out in like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
That's not easy. You got to rearrange, and not only for just the numbers behind it, the semantics of it, it's the emotional ride you have to go on for that. So that part of it, what they were able to accomplish and what Ryan Coogler was able to do, I thought was fantastic, and I don't think a lot of people could have done what he did. And do
you think that's a detriment? Do you think it was a detriment that they had, like when you say they had to push it out within a certain time frame, is because of the MCU?
They have to go timely and do it. I don't know if it was a detriment as much. It was definitely a strength in a certain.
Could have been better.
I mean, if they had more time to do it, sure. But it's also the choices that they made, and I think that from my biggest gripes with the film. What I loved about it is it took you back to the emotional core of the MCU that I like. Like they were starting to lose me with Doctor Strange and Thor. Thor: Love and Thunder.
I know you.
I like it less and less every time I talk about it. And I was like, and then She-Hulk, and I'm like, is this what it is now? I'm like, okay, if you guys are making that choice, that's cool. I just don't know how long I'm gonna stay on board with it because it's just not that tone that I liked about it, especially after rewatching the whole MCU with my daughter. But this brings you back to that tone. Even the choices of the things that I didn't love about the movie, it doesn't change the tone. It's just like they introduce a character that I thought, and people disagree with me, that it was basically just to set up a TV show. And they were like, no, it was always, and even the director was like, it was always set up. They decided to make a TV show afterwards. And I don't know about how I don't know if they're doing that, but if that's the case, sure. Minor gripe, and then it was a little long. Minor gripe, couple of choices here and there, but for the most part, the emotional. It's a really good movie.
Yeah, and I heard it was the lot of people said it was a great love letter or homage to Chadwick Boseman, which is great. And I honestly it wasn't like I said, people didn't say they didn't like it. I just think they expected, like, they wanted it to be better, and it wasn't. So it's in that not bad, still great, but just slightly.
I would say it's a really good movie. I just don't put it in the great category.
Yeah,
but it's really good. And speaking of which, okay, so Brett's gonna have an opportunity to make his own decision here, because the Disney Plus service has announced that it will be coming out on February 1st, which is the premiere date for Marvel Studios' Black Panther: Wakanda Forever on the streamer. The film will launch with its IMAX enhanced version enabled. Ryan Coogler returns to direct the sequel, which has managed to generate $820 million at the box office from a $250 million budget, and recently received 2 nominations at the 80th Golden Globe Awards and 6 nominations at the 28th Critics' Choice Awards. So, I mean, the critics have really dug it, and Angela Bassett will get, rightfully so, I think, an Oscar nomination as well. So that's so if you haven't had a chance to see it, make sure you check it out. And what I will say is that all the movies that came out from Marvel this year, it's the only one that's going to hit Disney Plus that I'm right away going back. I can't wait to watch it because I
yeah.
want to see it again. I think Namor was really well done.
Were you mad about him CGI and his junk out?
It's hilarious. Yeah, they did that too. Well, and I think that on the rewatch, like there's right now, my daughter and I were almost done with Captain Marvel, and then we lead into Endgame.
Oh wow,
Well, we took we were moving, but we took a break because of Wednesday and all this other stuff. But we're gonna finish Captain Marvel, then we're gonna get to Endgame, and then we hit into Phase 4, which is kind of like it just kind of goes a little bit. WandaVision, Loki. I'm looking forward to watching again. But
is Wednesday the first time that she's ever done, which my daughter did?
Yeah.
Watch it without you, and then you're like, what the hell?
Well, to be fair to her, she asked if we could start watching it together. I was like, I don't know when I'm going to be able to get to it yet.
Okay.
And she's like, I'm going to start watching. I said, that's cool. So she started watching it, and when we went to Solvang, and she was just And then you realize though when your kids are getting older too, because like there were certain times that we wouldn't let her watch certain things because of certain things that are in the show. Yeah. And as we were rewatching it, I'm like, or we were watching it first time. She's rewatching it, and I'm like, 2-3 years ago, we would be like, yeah, she can't watch this stuff with in the morgue and like certain like words and people talk about like hanging themselves and shit, and I'm like, yeah, she's 11 now. Yeah, it sucks, but like she can to have the balance between reality and
definitely for me because she didn't want to watch it with us.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, because then I went, oh, is it way too inappropriate? She's like, no, it's just, and I get it. It's like teenagers kissing and stuff like that. It's silly things, but I mean, as far as Lydia was somebody that like anything that was somewhat like gory or whatever checked out. Right. She's grown up. Yeah.
It's the same thing. My daughter's obsessed with this.
Yeah.
Like obsessed with this. She was watching the Disney stuff for a bit, and like Peyton List, who was in Cobra Kai and everything, was like her number one like big huge star. She has dropped compared to Jenna Ortega. I mean, yeah, like Jenna Ortega to my daughter. Jenna Ortega is like the major movie star, right?
How long do we have to wait for the season 2?
Oh, I know. 2024. My daughter has told me significantly that it is 2024, but we have to wait. I think you'll get the anticipation. You got to remember how much stuff is coming out this year, dude. There is so much coming out in 2023. We're going to be like buried in so much great stuff. It's amazing.
But in the olden days, real quick, it was just like season, year. It was year. Like
sometimes no, not really.
Sometimes.
Look at The Sopranos, man.
Well, okay.
The Sopranos, like
I'm talking in the Archie Bunker days. The good old no.
Well, yes. If you're talking like traditional television, yes, because remember, traditional television when you had like the in studio feel and not like or even the green screen, not green screens, but the when it looked like television, you could bang that shit out. But when you're putting all that effort into it,
like and Friends is a good example. I mean, that never took long hiatuses, did it?
Maybe only because of contract negotiations.
Oh yeah,
but not because of production.
We need to make a cool middle an episode.
Well, because because at that point they were generating it. But yes, it was easier to make those things because they're in a studio. They have the studios built. They have all that stuff done. They got to write the episodes. But when you look at look at Andor. Right, like Andor is not coming out in 2023. It's going to come out in 2024 because they shoot on location. They have to write all the episodes. They got to put a little more quality into it. It's more cinematic. But the reason that you can push out television faster than you can push out like movies is because with movies it's almost like you're writing like one big episode, and then that's got to come out. You got to put enough time into it that eventually you get it out in 2 or 3 years, whatever it might be. But in TV, you can write that first episode, whenever how long it takes you, and then you have shooting all that other stuff. But as the episodes are airing week to week, if you do it right, then you're editing, you're in post, and that's why when you do something like the binge model is another thing people don't talk about. The binge model, like Stranger Things, you're waiting for the final season forever because you're dropping it all at one point, and you're like, we got to edit it all like one massive huge movie, and you drop it all at one moment, as opposed to giving your post team a little bit more time. Episode 1 is out, episode 2 is out, but as 2 is out, you're working on 3, you're working on 4, you got a team working on 5, and that's why I think another reason why I think the binge model just works tremendously.
Oh, you think it worked? Okay,
I mean not binge. Excuse me. The week to week. Yes. I used to be a big advocate for a binge because I wanted it all. I'd like everybody else, give it to me now. I need it now. Like, man, Mandalorian's coming out. They're going to do week to week. No, give me all. I'm so glad because it keeps it in the conversation.
Yeah, no, I like it too. Yeah. I prefer that. I mean, of course, I binge things, but I would prefer it to stretch it out. And again, if we're going to wait so long in between things, let me take a little longer to get to it.
Or binge it once it's hit.
Yeah.
Or just wait. That's the whole point. Is that wait? Like I'm glad I was able to binge Severance. Right. I'm glad that I'm not going to be able to binge Severance for season 2, but I'm glad that the same thing with like Bear. I'm glad that I can like I like looking forward to the show. Same thing with like 1923. I like and I want it to be in the conversation. I want people to continue to talk about it. And like I'm so curious. Like please watch like by next week. Please watch 1923.
Okay.
So we can talk about it.
Before Yellowstone, it doesn't matter. You don't think?
No.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. I'm like I don't remember. I think I watched 3 or 4 episodes of Yellowstone. I don't remember anything except Kevin Costner's in it. And there's just certain things I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. But
there's a baseball field.
This is yeah. And but anyway, so like it's it just and I won't be able to talk to you about it in spoiler on the air.
Yeah,
we can talk about it off the air, but I want to be able to. We can talk about it in code on the air. But I don't know. I mean, if you guys are watching 1923. Please let me know, especially in the comments. Let me know so I can maneuver and say, okay, maybe I'll do a spoiler review. I don't want to do it if you're not gonna. If people aren't watching it, it's pointless to do it. We just had this whole conversation beforehand about how it works now with YouTube and social media in general and all this shit, right? And the algorithms is they punish you, unfortunately. Like as much as I'd love to do a spoiler for 1923, I just feel like I'll put it out there, and if 3,000 people watch it, like I put out the Puss in Boots review, which I thought people were going to watch, families and stuff do it. It ate shit. It ate such serious shit that review nobody cared.
Really?
And it hurt my next video. That's what people don't realize is like when you put these videos out and they don't work, it hurts your video.
Do you think because people were taking their kids to Avatar? Do you think that like Puss in Boots didn't get the,
I think it's partially it, but I also think that it's the reason when that movie came out or the trailer came out or even it was announced, I was like, oh, okay, another Puss in Boots? I don't care.
Yeah, I know. It didn't seem like that should have been a straight to video kind of
That's what everyone thinks. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's a really great movie. And the animation's fantastic, but the problem is it's just like kind of like, it's that. It's like, there's another Puss in Boots movie? Who cares? But it's a really great
Chipmunks?
movie.
What?
Right. The Chipmunks was a great movie.
Yeah.
Chipmunks, right?
Yeah.
Chip and Dale.
I never saw that. You told me that was.
You never watched Chip and Dale, dude. It's so up your alley.
Yeah.
It is so up your alley. That movie is another one.
You told me about it. See, there's just so much.
There's so much, but but again, when I tell you Chip and Dale is going to be good, you're like, really?
Yeah.
Chip and Dale. Same thing. That's what happened with Puss in Boots, but. Before we get to the next story, I do want to tell you guys about Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. I love it. I gave AG1 a try because I wanted better gut health. I wanted increased energy. I wanted immune system support. And I didn't like taking all those pills and vitamins. And I wanted a better supplement that tastes great. I take AG1 for me. I take it right before the coffee. I put it in the water bottle. I shake it up. It makes me feel good and actually really helps sleep quality too. It's great. I know that I'm doing something good for my body and I'm giving me the nutrition that I need. I love it. It's hard for me to keep up with a supplement routine all the time. It comes with different products. I just like I love AG1 because you put it in the bottle, you just take it once and it tastes good. You go, this is green. It doesn't matter. It tastes good.
It's easy to mix up too.
Very easy.
Some of these things they chalky and they like get all clumped. No,
it's great. So, and why do you want to take a bunch of different things anyway? We can just mix 1 scoop of powder and water once, and that's it. And Brett's right. It's very easy. And it has an all-in-one formula and makes it easy for me to cover my nutritional basis every day. And it's packed with 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients of the highest quality that gives me major benefits like gut and mood support. It's awesome. Now, the AG1 is delivered to me every month, so it's been super easy to make it a daily habit. You can do it. Just go and check it out. And I love hearing from people who said they've tried it and they love it and they want to continue to use it. So if you're looking for an easy way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel bags with your first purchase. Now go to athleticgreens.com/bigthing. athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Check it out. All right. So As we now move on, it's my turn. I'm going to take one of these stories as well. And I'm going to go into this Avatar story, man, because there's a lot to talk about with Avatar. Not only is Avatar now pretty much going to turn a profit, so I didn't understand. I just don't get it when people are like right away. And I say this about like our good buddy Winston.
Yeah.
The movie was projected to make, in its opening weekend worldwide, $500 million. It made 430. And I remember talking to Winston outside. He's like, God, it's somewhat bombed. I'm like, it's somewhat bombed? On $430 million? How does it somewhat bomb? It might have been calculated incorrectly, but that's not a somewhat bomb. It made $1 billion in 10 days.
Yeah.
It has now made about 1.4. And this is the craziest part of this story. I have not seen at all a movie do this. I mean, you guys can show me when. It probably has happened, but I don't know. It had a zero drop-off from last week. That never happens. It usually, if someone goes, oh, look, it was a 30% drop-off. That's really great. 40%, pretty good. Zero. The movie is going to make $2 billion now. It is absolutely going to make $2 billion. I thought it was going to tap out at 1.5. It is going to make $2 billion. Mark my words. There's no doubt.
It's going to my projection, 3.
You think so?
I just want it to happen.
You just want it to happen? I don't know, man. That's
when
hard.
I said it, no, I know it's hard. I know it's virtually impossible. But because I said it, and I'm the one that doesn't know shit,
yes,
I want it to happen.
I want it to happen too. And I've seen it twice. Have you seen it twice yet?
No. I definitely want to see it again.
You got to take the family to see it.
Yeah,
for sure.
I got to get Lonnie out there because we watched it in theater together. Like,
yeah.
She remembers it being great. It's just you got to convince people.
You just got to drag them
3 hours and 15.
You just got to drag them to see it. It's like it's an experience altogether. And I didn't have to drag my daughter to see it. She was super excited to see it. We went and she loved it. But let's get into this now though, and this story overall. And there's two potential stories here too. And the first part of it is, again, Dark Horizons here. I think it's the G-Man. Now, this is from Garth. It's got to be Garth Franklin. Of course it is. I think he owns this website. Those who've doubted James Cameron, prepare to wipe that smirk off your face as the costly Avatar: The Way of Water is set to close out the year's box office with a big splash. In its third weekend, the film dominated the Friday box office with a haul of $24.4 million. It is currently on track to gross $66.8 for the 3-day and around $88 million for the 4-day. This is domestic, by the way. The 3-day is up 6% from last week's Christmas holiday, with the 4-day haul, even if it's a dip overall, will only be 3 to 4% at most. By the end of the weekend, it'll likely gross more than $445 million to overtake Black Panther: Wakanda Forever as the second highest grossing domestic release of 2022. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is set to come in second with $6.5 million on Friday, $15.9 over the 3-day, and $21.2 over the 4-day, with a total gross of $66.6. Its 3-day is a rise of 43% compared to last week. Black Panther will come in third with with 5.2 for the 3-day and $7 million for the 4-day. Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody will take 4.1 for the 3-day and 5.2 for the 4-day. And let me go back now. So that was one part of it. That was the projections of what it was going to make, and I think since then that's a little older report, so we know how much it's made. But now here's the other part of the report. One of the big numbers being flouted about before the release of Avatar: The Way of Water was $2 billion. That's the number that James Cameron says the film's box office has to reach globally to break even. That's considerably above the standard measure for profitability used by box office analysts, who say a good overall guide is that the film has to make 3 times its production budget to reach that point. The mythology is that you take the film's budget and 50% again for its marketing costs, and then double that amount because exhibitors will take half the gross. Avatar: The Way of Water boasts a production budget of anywhere between $350 and $460, depending upon sources, with complications arising over the fact that it isn't designed as a solo film and was shot in conjunction with the third film and parts of the fourth film. Going by the upper estimate, the film has to reach at least 1.3 to be profitable. Today, it reached the exact milestone, and it's not slowing down. Variety confirmed the worldwide gross number, and according to its sources with the studio, the break-even point is estimated to be around 1.4, which will hit within hours, if not already. The film grossed another $63.4 million domestically over the 3-day New Year weekend, and is expected to bring in $82.4 by the end of Monday, with a running total of $421.6 domestically and 95.6 internationally. The movie is expected to cross the 1 billion international mark this week. All right, so I'm going to look right now, and I'm going to go over to
where it's at right now, or what?
Right now. So that was by that report. So by that report, right now we are now at Avatar: The Way of Water. I'm going on to Box Office Mojo. It is at 1.4. Yeah, that's the same thing. So it's made 956, 440. They haven't updated yet, but as it stands on Box Office Mojo, that's 1.4. And then this opening weekend, what it did, as we just said, it was 63.4. And I don't know how much it made internationally, but either way, this movie is not slowing down.
What I guess I have two questions. So what if I'm hearing this right? When they talk about budget, they're talking about shooting the
3 and 4 also.
Yeah. So how does that mean if this profits, then you're already in a profit zone?
You're already in a good you're in a good spot, depending on what James Cameron decides he wants to do for the next movies. Continues on if he wants to spend more money, because you could also see him going, hey, we can spend more money now because we had recover. He could possibly do that depending on it, but that's what people aren't taking into consideration. So people were talking marketing and everything else too. So like anywhere between, as they were saying, 1.2 to 1.4, which is a crazy
it's insane
number for profitability, but they've already done it.
Yeah.
They've already done it, because if you look, it's not just going to stop making money today. It's going to continue to make money overseas. It's going to continue. There's no competition.
Well, that's what my second question was, like, what's coming out this weekend? What's coming out the next weekend? Like anything that people would go like, oh, I want to go to this instead of Avatar.
Ant-Man's the next one.
Ant-Man's
the next big budget, Ant-Man Quantumania is the next one. That's February. That's mid-February. So it has no competition. It's got, there's horror movies and other things that'll be coming out, but nothing that, there are people that keep going back to watch it again. And even if it has a half of a drop off, it made what, another 200 million or something like that over the worldwide. Even if it makes another 100 million, you're looking at 1.5. It'll probably be a 1.6 soon. And then the other thing that they don't talk about with Avatar, the first one, is that movie kept coming. They kept re-releasing it. They kept re-releasing it. It just got re-released recently because Endgame was the #1 movie, and then they re-released Avatar again, and it surpassed it. So they'll keep doing that with Avatar, and they'll probably do it before the third one comes out. So
100%.
Yeah.
I think, and again, that's why I made that outlandish clip, 3 billion or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just think that like the people that love it are going to convince their friends to go see it. And I haven't heard a lot. You get a couple here and there within my group of people that are like, it's the same old story. It's whatever, it's like, but it's beautiful.
Right.
It's like,
it's an experience.
And it's a different, the story's the same as maybe something, but isn't pretty much everything we watch.
That's what I said too.
Damn story,
I think that was my argument with the first one too. But I think this one suffers less than that of the first. For the first one, there's a lot of movies that you can say I've seen this a million times over. Yeah. There's moments and things that you've seen in the second movie, but I mean, even like Wednesday, right? Wednesday's a show. I've seen so many movies and TV shows. I've predicted everything that happens in that show. It is so easy to predict.
Yeah.
Like I know who's this person, I know who's that, I know who's going to happen here, but I'm having fun watching it.
Yeah.
I'm entertained watching it. And it's like those types of things that doesn't bother me. But in the case of Avatar, I went back for that second time because I wanted to go back to Pandora.
Yeah.
I wanted to live there again. I wanted to be in that. Those Avatar movies just do something that other movies just don't do.
It's okay to like something because it's just visually and
it's true.
And
but I mean,
I
the like
action scenes too. Though
I like it more than that. The story really gets me, and like emotionally.
But
you're just saying in general.
That say like it's this. It's like, well, is that all you hung on to? And I heard like, oh well, there's plot holes and things like that. I'm like, there's no plot. No, I mean they left you hanging on some things like, I said Ripley, her daughter.
Oh yeah,
Ripley's daughter.
Ripley's daughter. Yes, Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, but that's just open ended to like. You want to learn.
You want to know more.
Her,
yeah. And
it wasn't like, oh, well, she was going to have a stroke if she went down and thing again, and and she did. No. There's a mysticism about her that we're going to learn.
She's like Neo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, anyway,
stop hating everything.
Well, the thing that I just didn't like I said a million times over. There's people I saw other comments of whether it was videos or people tweeting out about how Avatar bombed and Avatar was horrible and Avatar is not going to do well because of this and political things and this and that. And they're making videos and they're doing that because you're hurting yourself and you're not hurting yourself in my personal view on it, right? And part of that is I understand, because we were talking about this too. When you make these videos, and whether these hate videos or whatever it is too, every video you make basically is a hate video now.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, that's my brand. That's what I have to do. That's what people are expecting. It's like, I've been making these hate videos about this particular thing, and now if I like it, my audience isn't going to trust me. And then the problem is, if you're just hating and you say like, well, this movie bombed and it just made $1.5 billion. How do you say that it bombed? What's your proof on that? Yeah. And it's like, but it's okay to go, no, you know what? I was wrong. I want to see someone do that. I want to see someone say, thought it was going to bomb, thought the numbers came in, misread the report, and said, nope, doesn't mean I like the movie. I still hate the movie. I still hate it, but I was wrong. But it's like those types of things don't happen because I don't know. I just can't stand how politicized movies have become. Like the movie sphere has become just as politicized as anything else.
It's ridiculous to me, and that's from the minute I came into the Schmoes, no show and like all this stuff. Some comments I made and some things that I was talking about, and I got attacked for stuff, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck's going on with the world right now?
Like, well, remember though, it's too, and it's both sides of it too. Like you can't, if you say, because you can say, and I saw it not as much as me. I'll be honest, with like She-Hulk, I didn't like that show. Yeah. I just did not like the show. I liked the first 2 episodes a lot. And then the more and more it got worse. But I did see people who gave fair criticisms. There were certainly people out there that were turds about it. But I saw people who give fair criticisms going, oh, you don't like it because it's a woman. Like, that's not what the person's saying. That's not what they're saying. You don't like it because this person's in it. You don't like it because of this. It's like, no, I'm not telling you that doesn't happen. Yeah. That certainly happens. But it just, on both sides of it, a lot of times, there's just too much.
Don't tell me why I didn't like something. Right. That's the you don't know what I like or dislike, and whether that's
the problem though.
That's a button pushy.
But wait, but that's the thing. Sometimes it is accurate to say that.
Okay.
Because if there's a certain person who is going to say it's because they're going to hate it because there's a black person in it, then you should be able to call that person out because you just know right away. Of course they hate it because of this. They're not even watching the movie. But I think if you give right criticisms and you give fair criticisms and you say things that are like, look, I didn't like this movie and I didn't like this particular character because of this. You shouldn't get roasted for it. You don't have to agree with the person.
No.
But roasted for it. And so that's what I'm saying. Both sides are guilty and I think that, and there are a lot of times on the other side of it too, there are people that just love everything and like, God bless them, but it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting when they like, you turn it on and you're like, oh, I love this because this. I love this because this. I would never in a million years call a person, you're a fucking shell. Yeah. It's like, no, you just love everything. It's like, I don't know if I can watch. I mean.
Did we get our Cameron checks though?
We got them.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was like, so someone said, like I looked at, there's a mutual friend of ours, sweetest person in the world, loves everything. Can't take opinion serious all the time because I just know, okay, well, let me guess. Here's this movie. I bet you they'll love it. Everybody else says loved it. And it's like, okay, that's and I think that's if you had a choice between the two, like, if you're going to walk around with a smile on your face, loving everything, or I hate you because of this. It's like, it's just, life's too short, as we were just talking about, to hate everything. Yeah. Anyway, all right, let's move on to another one, Brett. All right, so we talked about Avatar quite a while. We'll wrap up with what you got. You got one more thing you can talk about. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I guess Yellowstone on break is.
We kind of talked about that.
That one kind of talked about.
So I guess is
okay. Stranger Things ending with Will. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. It started with Will, right?
Yeah, I want to know what this report is actually. So this is Stranger Things season 5 is to end with Will. What does that mean? This is what Garth Franklin over at Dark Horizons. I've heard.
G-Man.
Yeah, that's right. If anyone has gotten the short end of the stick in the world of Stranger Things, it's been Noah Schnapp's Will Byers, who's been absent for most of the first season and then a key part of the second. The writers have seemingly struggled ever since to figure out what to do with the character, and especially they never get him a good haircut. The recent 4th season seemingly confirmed rumors about Will's sexuality, though it was never outright stating it, even as it was widely seen as mishandling that aspect in the first of 2 key scenes about it. On the other hand, The scene involving a kind of heartfelt moment between him and his also sidelined brother Jonathan was one of the recent season finale's high points. Even so, it often felt like the pair were barely in the recent season. Fans have been concerned that the upcoming fifth and final run will once again drop the ball when it comes to handling Will's storyline. In an interview with Forbes, Schnapp says not to worry, as the show's new season will come full circle. Schnapp says, it's hard for me to not think of the big man when I say that. I know. I can just tell you that I'm very, very excited for what's to come. I think they did a great job with Will's character this season and beautifully addressed everything they needed to. The way they closed the show is perfect. The story started with Will, and it'll end with Will. Will has long had a psychic connection to the Upside Down since he first disappeared in the show's first episode. The new season is set to take place within Hawkins, with the whole group back together after being split apart in the fourth. All 4 seasons of Stranger Things are available to stream exclusively on Netflix. Okay. So there's a lot here. I think that he has stated that it'll start there too. We talked about it on the Best show with Dan and John, and John is not a fan of Noah Schnapp. Just doesn't think he's a great actor. I think he's fine. He's been fine lately. I disagree with the report. He hasn't had really anything to do. You watched the last season.
They just had him like
he was just there,
being sad
and conflicted.
Yes, he's conflicted.
Yeah, and they just didn't really. And
should I give him the painting? Should I not give him? That was his whole story.
He didn't really know what to do, and he wasn't really talking much. And he didn't. But they were right. The moment with his brother was really sweet.
Well, and that is being a kid that age. He's in a place where it's just like where he's awkward. He doesn't know what to think about. The friendships are changing. They're moving off in different directions, and he's internalizing it. And I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, it's not like they did him dirty, and I think that's probably why it will go to him, because they're giving him something that you're like, what's going on with Will?
Ended it at the end. Yeah.
Let's see really what's going on with him, because he does have the biggest connection to the underworld,
it's fine. Upside down
under.
Yeah, you get down under. We're back to the down under. All right, guys. So, and then you guys, we're back here. So happy to be back, and there's a lot going on the channel. As I said to you, we're getting close to 63,000 subscribers, and we're almost there. We hope that you guys, if you're watching this show, that you've been part of that. If you haven't, Apple Podcasts and Spotify are very important. We're making a big push on that this year. If you haven't done the audio, please do the audio. Download the episodes, do all that. And I've been doing a lot of the short form videos. There's a lot on this channel. There's a lot on TikTok and Instagram and all that. Of course, I post a Waffle House TikTok, and it does almost 1 million views. Perfect. Which is I'm very happy about. Thank you guys. And we're getting close, like I said, with the 70,000. Once we get to 70, we're going to start really taking that live tour serious. So we're going to get there. We're going to get there. And I think this year is going to be really good. And I'm so glad that you guys have been on the journey with us. And please let me know in the comment section, as we did the format a little different today, where we had all the news stories and we just kind of bounced back and forth, and we're going to let the guests, whether it's Brett or whoever's on here, choose and talk about the stories that they want to talk about. And if there's stories coming up that you guys want us to talk about, please submit them. But that's it, man. Thank you for Brett Sheridan, and for myself. This has been the big thing. Monday. Peace out, everybody.